6:46 right now. Big shakeup in President Trump's cabinet. Mike Waltz is out as national security advisor, now instead nominated as ambassador to the United Nations. We know this morning Secretary of State Marco Rubio is now the interim national security advisor. Let's make sense of all this. Scripps News Group's Nathaniel Reed live for us in Washington this morning. So break down how significant this move really is. Are there more dominoes that are going to fall with this?
Well, look, that's the remaining question, Blaine, because, look, we've accomplished the first part, which is President Trump has moved Mike Waltz out of that national security advisor position, moved him to the position of U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Again, he needs Senate confirmation for that job, but he's taking him out of his inner circle here in Washington, moving him to New York, a far cushier position by virtue of the fact it includes a $15 million apartment in New York City as part of that UN ambassador gig. So not too shabby. He still, though, needs to get through a Senate confirmation, and that could certainly be a difficult part here, dragging him in front of Congress, forcing him to testify before Democrats and Republicans who still feel burned over his decision to use Signal, an app that's available on any phone like yours or mine, to try and communicate information about an upcoming strike on Houthi targets in Yemen. So again, even though it was Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth who put in that presumably classified information about what time those targets and strikes were going to be hit, he is still under controversy for adding a reporter, Jeffrey Goldberg, from The Atlantic to that chat accidentally. So again, a lot of questions about whether he could face a really tough confirmation process through the Senate, bruising over his decision to, or rather over his accident to include that reporter and to have such a high profile, really high stakes conversation through an app that you or I could download onto this phone easily. In fact, I have it on both of my phones. So again, his confirmation process likely going to be challenging. Democrats on Capitol Hill already telling me that. Take a listen.
What do you think that his confirmation hearing would be like? Considering what we know about Signalgate.
I think it would be pretty brutal.
Would you consider voting to confirm him?
I never say what I'm going to do on a vote until we have the hearings, but I'm not excited about what the behavior was on Signalgate and the folks that were principally involved, Hegseth and Waltz. I think both should own up to it.
We still do not know who President Trump's pick will be to be his new national security advisor. As you mentioned, Marco Rubio is acting in that role. It's the fourth role by my and many other journalists' count that Marco Rubio is currently in. He's Secretary of State, acting Administrator of USAID, acting Archivist of the United States, and now, adding a fourth role, he's acting National Security Advisor. That might be a record for number of positions in administration held by one person. So again, it seems like there's a lot more that's going to come out here. We have to learn a lot about who President Trump plans to fill Mike Waltz's place. But there's no one feeling more burned here than Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who was promised the position of UN ambassador only to be told she had to stay in Congress to keep Republicans with a majority.
I mean, if nothing else, for a $15 million apartment, sign me up for that, too. Nathaniel Reed live this morning in Washington. As always, thank you so much. It's 6:50 right now.